She was 61 years old when the pain began to change her life. At first, it was small, a deep ache inside her body, something she could not explain. She believed it was age. She believed it was stress. She believed it would pass. She had lived a long, responsible life. She raised children, she cared for family, she worked without complaint. She trusted doctors. She trusted white walls and calm voices. She trusted the system. So when the pain grew stronger, she went to the hospital. She sat in the waiting room for hours, surrounded by younger faces, by tired nurses, by loud televisions. When her name was called, she stood slowly, her body heavy, her steps careful. The doctor barely looked at her. He asked quick questions, he typed on a screen, he nodded without hearing. She explained the pain, how it woke her at night, how it burned, how it stole her breath, how it felt wrong. The doctor smiled politely. He said it was normal. He said pain comes with age. He said she should rest. He said she should take simple medicine. She felt embarrassed. She felt small. She felt foolish for worrying. She went home with empty hands. No tests, no answers. That night, the pain returned stronger. It wrapped around her body. It crushed her chest. It stole her sleep. She sat on the edge of her bed, shaking, fear slowly replacing trust. Something inside her whispered, "This is not normal." Days passed. The pain stayed. She returned to the hospital. A different doctor. Same result. "You are fine. You are overthinking. You should relax." Each visit made her feel invisible. She began to doubt herself. Maybe she was weak. Maybe she was dramatic. But the pain did not lie. One morning, she collapsed in her kitchen. The floor cold beneath her, her heart racing, her vision fading. In that moment, she understood something clearly. If she stayed silent, she would die. She survived that day, barely. And when she stood again, something inside her had changed. Fear turned into anger. Anger turned into determination. She started writing everything down, every pain, every symptom, every dismissed visit. She requested her medical records. She read them carefully. She noticed mistakes, missing details, wrong assumptions. She asked questions. Doctors grew uncomfortable. She demanded tests. They resisted. She refused to leave quietly. At 61, she was no longer asking for permission. She was demanding truth. The system had underestimated her. They saw an old woman. She saw a fight worth winning. This was only the beginning. The morning after she decided to fight, she woke up with pain and purpose. Her body still hurt, but her mind was clear. She knew one thing. If doctors would not listen, she would make them listen. She returned to the hospital again, not with fear, but with questions. She asked for tests, she asked for scans, she asked for explanations. The nurse looked surprised. The doctor looked annoyed. He told her again, "Nothing is wrong. This is normal for your age." She looked him in the eyes and said, "I know my body." Silence filled the room. For the first time, he paused. But still, no tests were ordered. She left angry, but not defeated. At home, she began to research. She read medical articles, she read patient stories, she learned new words, new symptoms, new possibilities. Late nights, painful days, but knowledge gave her strength. She found support groups, women her age, with similar pain, with similar dismissal. She realized she was not alone. Many of them suffered for years. Some did not survive. That truth shook her deeply. She promised herself that would not be her story. She scheduled another appointment. this time with a specialist. The waiting list was long. Weeks felt like years. Her pain grew worse, her body weaker, but her voice grew stronger. When the day came, she carried a notebook full of dates, symptoms, questions. The specialist listened longer, but still hesitated. He suggested stress. He suggested anxiety. She refused to accept that answer. She asked for specific tests. She named them confidently. The room changed. Doctors are not used to patients who know. Reluctantly, he agreed to order tests. Days later, results came back. Something was wrong. Not clear, not simple, but undeniable. For the first time, her pain had proof. She felt relief and anger. Relief that she was not imagining it, anger that it took so long. The doctor looked different now. Careful, serious. More tests were ordered. More appointments followed. She was tired, but she felt alive. Each step forward felt like victory. But the system does not give up easily. Appointments were delayed, phone calls ignored, paperwork lost. She had to fight every inch. She filed complaints. She wrote letters. She demanded accountability. Some staff supported her. Others avoided her. Whispers followed her name. Difficult patient. She smiled at that. If difficult meant alive, she accepted the label. Her family worried. They begged her to rest. She told them, "I will rest after the truth is known." One night, alone, in pain, she questioned herself. Is this fight worth it? Then she remembered the kitchen floor, the cold, the fear, and she knew this fight was everything. What she uncovered next would change her life and expose a truth the system tried to hide. The next months tested her strength. Pain became part of every movement, but determination carried her forward. More tests were done. Scans, blood work, consultations. Each appointment revealed pieces, small fragments of a larger truth. Doctors spoke carefully now, their confidence replaced by caution. They admitted something was wrong, but no one wanted responsibility. She sensed fear behind their words. One doctor finally said, "This should have been caught earlier." Those words burned inside her. She asked, "Why was I sent home? Why was I ignored?" No clear answer came. She was referred to another hospital, another specialist, another long wait. Her condition worsened. Simple tasks became exhausting. Climbing stairs felt impossible. Still, she refused to stop. At night, she documented everything. Every symptom, every delay, every name. She understood now. This was not just about her. It was about every patient dismissed, every woman told to endure pain. The new specialist reviewed her case quietly, page after page, silence heavy in the room. Finally, he looked up. "You were right." The diagnosis was serious, life-threatening, but treatable if caught sooner. Her hands trembled, relief mixed with rage. This diagnosis explained everything: the pain, the collapse, the fear. Treatment began immediately. Her body struggled, but slowly responded. As strength returned, so did her voice. She requested meetings, hospital administrators, patient advocates. She presented her records, her timeline, her evidence. They listened carefully now. An internal review was opened. Doctors who dismissed her were questioned. Policies were examined. She was no longer invisible. Media attention followed quietly. Patient rights groups contacted her. They called her brave. She felt tired. She never wanted to be brave. She just wanted to be heard. Her story spread. Other patients came forward. Similar experiences. Same words, same dismissal. Together, their voices grew louder. The system shifted slightly. Small changes, but real ones. Training sessions were updated, pain assessments revised. Her case became an example. Treatment continued. Progress was slow, but hopeful. One morning, she walked outside, felt the sun, and breathed deeply. She was alive, but she knew the journey was not over. Justice still waited, and her final stand would define everything. The months of treatment left her exhausted. Her body healed slowly. Her mind remained sharp. She knew the fight was far from over. She attended meetings with hospital leaders, presented her case with calm precision, showed every appointment, every ignored symptom, every dismissive word. The administrators shifted uncomfortably. Some tried to minimize, some tried to explain. But she had proof. Her voice no longer trembled. Her presence demanded attention. She met with patient advocacy groups, journalists who wanted to tell her story, lawyers who explained her rights. She learned how bureaucracy protected itself, how mistakes were hidden behind protocols, how patients like her were silenced. She refused to be silenced. She requested formal investigations, public accountability, training for staff. Each day she faced resistance, obstacles, ignored emails, delayed meetings, dismissive comments. Yet she continued, step by step, document by document. Her story inspired others. Women who had been dismissed came forward. Doctors began to listen. Policies began to shift. She realized the fight was bigger than herself. It was about every person who had been told, this is normal for your age. Her own body had healed enough, but her soul carried scars. Scars from disbelief, scars from being ignored. She shared her story publicly, speaking at conferences, writing articles, mentoring patients who were afraid to speak. The medical system slowly adapted. Protocols were updated. Doctors trained to listen, patients encouraged to advocate. She became a symbol, not because she wanted fame, but because she refused to stay silent. Even as she celebrated victories, she remembered the fear, the collapse in her kitchen, the nights of unbearable pain. Those memories fueled her, reminded her why she could not stop. Her advocacy brought recognition, awards, interviews, letters of gratitude from patients who found courage through her. She understood the system would never be perfect, but she had carved a space for change. And now, she prepared for the final phase, the phase where her story would reach its ultimate resolution. Her fight was not just survival, it was transformation. The final months of her journey were both exhausting and empowering. She continued treatment, she continued advocacy, her body stronger, her voice louder. Hospital boards convened, investigations concluded, mistakes were acknowledged, changes were implemented. Doctors who dismissed her were held accountable. Training programs were established for staff. Protocols were rewritten to ensure patients would be heard. She attended the final meeting, her notebook in hand, every page a testament to persistence, every detail a declaration of truth. She spoke calmly, confidently. Her words resonated through the room. You cannot dismiss pain. You cannot ignore a patient. You cannot assume age explains everything. The room was silent. Then nods of agreement, some embarrassment, some pride in learning from her courage. The media covered the story. Patient rights organizations amplified her voice. Other women shared their experiences. The system shifted. Lives were being saved. At home, she reflected. The pain that once defined her life, the fear that nearly consumed her, The doctors who ignored her, the nights alone with uncertainty, all of it had shaped her, forged a strength she did not know she had. She wrote letters to other patients, encouraged them to speak, encouraged them to demand answers, encouraged them to never give up. Her family watched in awe. They had worried, they had feared, but now they understood. She had turned struggle into purpose. Her life became a symbol, a story of courage, a story of persistence, a story that reminded the world that age does not silence truth, that pain must be acknowledged, that voices must be heard. Years later, she continued advocacy quietly. She lived fully. She laughed freely. She walked without fear of being ignored. Her battle changed the system. Her story saved lives. Her courage inspired generations. At 61, she refused to accept dismissal. At 61, she demanded truth. At 61, she changed the world. She proved that one voice, even against a powerful system, could make a difference, and her legacy would endure forever.